Alright, that's enough. Cut the fucking music. Oh my god. Okay, so let's just fucking get this shit over with. What's up, bitches? So today we're going to respond to none other than the SJW transgender feminist Riley J. Dennis. Oh boy, make sure you have your cyanide pills ready because we're going to fucking need them.
I know there are people who don't think being transgender is a thing, and this video is not for them.
Well, nice job trying to convince more people.
This video is for the people who say, yes, trans women are women, but they are still biologically male.
Because it's true. People who are transgender women were born male. Are we living in bizarro world?
Because while their intentions might be good, the impact that these words have is actually very harmful.
How? How are you being harmed when someone says that you were born a man? Oh, I'm hurt because someone called me what I was scientifically labeled at birth. Give me a fucking break.
Trans women are not male, and saying that they are allows some people to justify the mistreatment of trans people. So I'm going to assume that you already really believe that trans women are women. If you don't believe that, this video isn't meant to convince you. Maybe instead of leaving an angry comment, you could go do some research into what it means to be transgender.
Transgender, denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex. You were born a male. You have a dick. And you have an Adam's apple. You are a woman in a man's body. That's practically what being transgender is. Being a woman in a male's body or being a male in a woman's body. It does not change what you were biologically born as.
I will leave some links in the description to some very good resources to get you started. Alright, so let's say that you're trying to be a good ally to trans people and you heard that sex and gender are two different things. Sex is biological and gender is a social construct.
It's called science, you twit.
That's not entirely true. Sex and gender are two different things, but they're both partly social constructs, just in different ways. For a long time, gender has been assigned to people based on their perceived sex. A doctor looks at a baby's genitals and determines what gender it will be raised as.
Because that's how it is, Riley. You were born with a dick. You have a freaking Adam's apple. You were born a man and are transitioning into a woman. 99.999999999999999% of the time is true. How hard is it to realize this?
In our culture, this used to be unquestionable fact. You were raised as the gender you were assigned at birth, and being transgender wasn't an option. This doesn't mean that trans people didn't exist. We've existed as long as humans have existed, but being transgender was not a mainstream topic of discussion.
I'm already a minute into this goddamn episode and I already want to fucking end myself.
Today, many of us recognize that gender is far more complicated than a person's perceived sex, and we're able to acknowledge that people can be transgender. Gender was a social construct before, and still is now, but how we construct it has changed.
Gender is not a social construct. It's based on science.
Now we can say that your gender is based on how you identify because we realized that basing gender on perceived sex was oppressive.
Perceiving a gender is oppressive. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes, because you are so oppressed when someone misgenders you. I can't do it much longer, guys. My head's going to fucking explode.
Again, I'm not really talking about society at large because a lot of people still don't fully understand what it means to be transgender, but I mean within trans accepting community.
Most people already know what being transgender is. It's being born a gender and having the brain of another gender. And in your life, you transition into that said gender.
However, even within these communities, binary sex has, for some reason, stuck around as the same kind of unquestionable fact that we used to think gender was. I've made a video before about intersex conditions and how sex isn't a perfect binary, but for now let's just talk about what it means to be male or female.
Okay, oh my fucking god. Being male. You have a dick. being female, you have a pussy.
Because I would argue that sex needs to go through the same change that gender has already gone through. It's not a static fact, it's a social construct. I'm sure that some people are having this knee-jerk reaction that sex is based on biology and you can't change a person's biology. But that's exactly what we used to say about gender.
Oh God, no, don't. Oh, Riley, please don't tell me you're gonna say that sex is not based on biology.
Sex is a way of categorizing humans based on a combination of a few traits: chromosomes, genitals, gonads, hormones, and secondary sex characteristics like facial hair or breast development. Most people never have their chromosomes tested. They're not tested at birth and they're not tested at regular checkups. Unless your doctor suspects that something might be wrong with your chromosomes, you'll probably never have them tested in your life. And you certainly can't tell a person's chromosomes by looking at them. Hormones are also not visible without a test, and genitals and gonads are usually not visible most of the time. So the way that most people have of determining someone's sex is simply their secondary sex characteristics that developed in puberty.
I can't. I'm slowly losing my mind responding to you, Riley. You were born a man, Riley. You were born a man. I know it's hard for you to accept, but it's science. Okay, you know what? I'm done. I think I said what I was going to say against Riley J. Dennis. I'm sorry if this offends you, Riley, but you were born a male. You have a dick. You have an Adam's apple. A huge Adam's apple, to be exact. And you are transitioning into a woman. God. I swear to God, I don't think I've ever gone insane so much in my life. So I can't.